I just picked up a used compressor, had to get it out of a really awkward situation, and then getting it up on a trailer I didn't have any help and I didn't have room to bring equipment to lift it with, and so I was wrestling with it and ended up, it was on this cart here, but ended up knocking it off the cart, or the cart tipped over I should say, while I was trying to get it up the ramps onto a trailer. And when it fell over, this pipe, little 1/2-inch thread pipe, broke off inside of it, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just do a video on getting that out of there, because that's going to be worse than a broken bolt, because a bolt has the same size thread all the way down the length of the threaded area, but a pipe is a tapered pipe thread, and so that is a whole lot tighter than a bolt when it breaks off. Usually when a bolt breaks off, you don't have to do a whole lot. You can get it to start coming out of there, cutting a groove in it and stick a screwdriver in it or whatever you can usually, because once the head of it's off, then the bolt's usually not going to be that tight, but threaded pipe will be tight. And so I already started. I'm cleaning some corrosion out of the inside with this round file, and then what I'm going to do, I'll peck at it first with a punch and see if it'll turn. I don't expect it to, and so the reason I'm cleaning it, I'm expecting to need to weld inside of that. I'm going to try to weld a circle inside of that pipe, and it's going to do two things. One, by using an electric weld, it's going to shrink it. When it cools down, it'll shrink it. I'll even shrink it more by putting some little water on it. And then the other thing it does, it gives me a little more meat to work with for driving an easy out in there of some sort without spreading it out more. It'll help, because if as thin wall as that pipe is, you just run an easy out in there, you're just going to spread the thing, you're just going to spread it out bigger inside there and jam it even tighter in the hole. So before I do that, I'm going to, like I say, I'll weld a circle around the outside of it. It'll give me a little bit more meat, so it's not going to spread as much, but it'll also shrink it down some as that weld cools. It'll shrink that metal down inside, and it won't be as tight in the hole, hopefully. I'm going to use this little tiny Vevor MMA 200 stick welder. A little tiny thing. It runs on 110 or 220. I'm going to use the 110. You can get more power out of it with 220, but I don't need very much power for this. So I'm going to use this because this is a handy little $90 welder that anybody can get. And of course you got to know how to stick weld. That takes practice. So I'm going to try with that. Another thing I could do that might be easier is but I'm going to go ahead and use this welder. What I could do is take a torch and just very carefully burn the inside of this pipe out of those threads. And most of the time I can do that without hurting the threads on the outside. But I'm going to go ahead and weld that up inside there, weld a circle around that. And it'll need to breathe, because as air heats up inside, it's going to blow air out at me. But it's open on the opposite end. There's another place like this, and it's open over there, so it'll breathe on that end. Got a little bit of a bead inside the outer edge of that. Okay, now I am going to push this bolt in there, kind of thread it in a little bit, and try to weld that onto that end of that pipe, hopefully without welding onto this thing here. That's always the last resort option I can do. If I can't get that pipe out, I can find a tapered pipe thread, 1/2-inch nipple, and just weld it all the way around the outside of this. That's the last resort thing I can do. I got that bolt welded in there, and I'm probably welded onto the tank as well. I hope not, but I'm cooling this down a little bit. for two reasons. One, I want it to cool fast so that it'll shrink a little bit and make it not as tight inside the hole. And the other, well, I want it cool because if the metal's hot, it's going to be softer. It'll twist and break easier. Moment of truth. Let's see what happens here. Thanks for watching.